So here I am, roughly 400 or 500 hours into Diablo 4, and that's about everything I'm going to give the game, because I don't feel that there's any more excitement for me to be had here, or a lot of fun, and just waiting for a possible brighter future. Just being here and doing nothing that's very interesting as a player, not really something I want to do. I would like to preface this video by saying that these are my thoughts coming from a background of MMORPGs, with Diablo 4 being my first ever ARPG. I'm not here to reflect the opinion of the ARPG fan base. Most likely, maybe they feel differently than I do. However, today we're gonna talk about my thoughts in Diablo 4 since the beginning, including Season 1, all the way up until today. I had a fantastic time in the game for the first 50 hours when I was brand new, including the betas, and discovering everything about Diablo 4, the classes, the systems, the ideas, the combat, the mobs, the plants, the NPCs, the builds, and the Paragon boards. These first 50 hours, I think they've done a fantastic job in Diablo 4. I think it's a super appealing game for new players. It's not only very easy to understand, and it's not only very fun to actually press your buttons and play basically and kill mobs with your low level class. However, when you get to the end, it becomes this gray murky area of not only boredom but also lack of substance, I feel, for an ARPG. It felt very, very similar to MMORPGs that I've played in the past, where there's only one route. The only difference is that these MMORPGs have 20 times more variety in terms of pieces of content. So even if it's the same class with the same build, at least you wash your eyes with 20 different things. In Diablo 4, obviously endgame content is limited to like two things: Nightmare Dungeons tier 100 or high tiers, and Uber Lilith. And that's all you do. But if you cannot even do that on several different builds, and everything else is a pain in the ass and a struggle to avoid getting hit from off screen, or to avoid somehow on a very immobile build just because you want to play something else than the one that everyone else is playing, is just a frustrating experience of making content difficult in that sense. And don't get me wrong, those of you who follow me for a long time, you already know that I absolutely love difficult content. But there is a big difference in between difficult because it's difficult, but the various builds for classes in an RPG work, and the difficult that is in Diablo 4, which is a frustrating difficult unless there's that one thing that you should absolutely do, and everyone should absolutely do it until Blizzard decides, hey, I'm gonna let Saivo do whatever he wants to do because it's time to maybe change that and make it appropriate, or change that build or that skill or that option or whatever. I don't really like that feeling. I just don't. I came to an ARPG to enjoy a variety of builds, to enjoy build making, to enjoy one class with 9 different options to go about it. I didn't come to an ARPG to enjoy the same fucking content, 2 pieces of it on the same build all over again. It's really not that interesting if it's just limited to that. And speaking of mechanics, there is no mechanics, because Diablo 4 is not a game that's complex, or that makes your brain think for a very long time. The closest I got to failing and trying and failing and trying was in my Lilith fight, which was the best fight in Diablo 4 and the best kind of content. Assuming I didn't do it with the Bone Spear build, because that was a 45-second content, which was not good at all. But when I was trying with a Mendel minion build, or with my Sorg, for example, you do get to those phases where you need to avoid the spike wall somehow, so you need to solve that problem. You need to go in round so that those fiery balls wouldn't chase you in phase 2 and wouldn't hit you. So these are like a little bit more interesting and more engaging mechanics. Unfortunately, there's just one place that has them, and you're not really motivated to do it at all, because, and now I'm getting into a different problem, a boost to get you through Lilith costs about 2 million gold that you can make in literally 2 hours, or maybe an hour if you're faster. And I have nothing against boosting, carrying, or the price it has. It's great for people who use the service, get the mount, and be done with it. However, I do have a problem with the disconnection that is happening in between the cheapness and the insignificant value of an Uber Lilith fight compared to what the devs have told me in the past it should be. It should be this grandiose fight with a lot of mechanics that really test your skill, and it should be normally a 10 to 15-minute fight. But it's just not. But at the same time, it's not only for some classes and only for a couple of broken builds, as opposed to other classes having access to this as well. So is it everyone supposed to have a broken build, or just some are supposed to be broken and then they're supposed to be fixed and not be broken? Is Uber Lily supposed to be easy or hard? I don't understand anymore. Is the new content that comes after Nightmare Dungeons, that's gonna be like the ranked content in season 3, is that what I'm waiting for, or is current content just broken and builds are broken and they're not supposed to be like that? So if I'm thinking about playing Diablo 4 for a long time, all of this just adds another layer of confusion over the game. If I'm just thinking about having fun now and not playing tomorrow, then there's no problems in Diablo 4. I do want to praise them for doing the first 50 hours of my time and the first 50 levels, or maybe the first 60 levels, to a very, very addictive and very, very cool degree. I really enjoyed my time then, until you get into the meat and the essence of the game and an ARPG, in my opinion. Um, at which point you start really noticing a lot of problems. Other than that, season 1, I did not have high expectations for it, simply because I did watch their podcast when they announced it, and it wasn't really that interesting. It was a very safe take on a season. The only thing that was changing was the fact that now I have some Malignant Hearts that I can socket on my accessories, and yeah, they just give me some new powers, a couple more legendary powers, and that's about it. It was incredibly thin, and if the community wouldn't have made such a gigantic mess of a big deal in terms of buffing, nerfing, and whatever they changed to achieve their later down the road goal, which later on they changed, um, then the season 1 would have been even worse. And because of that, and also because of the fact that just a couple of hours before the season 1 started, they changed the Malignant Hearts to also give armor, because so far they didn't. So they themselves in the studio came up with the idea of having these Malignant Hearts, but someone clearly forgot that as part of their grand ambition for Diablo 4, which is later down the road somewhere, they've removed the armor that people were socketing on their accessories, and they also nerfed the resistances and the armor in game a couple of days before the season. These are little things that maybe don't matter to anyone, but they do matter to me, because they give me an insight on what's in the devs' minds and what is behind the scenes when they make some of the changes. Not only they nerfed everything without balancing out with some buffs in other departments. That was a different story, another big problem. But at the same time, they had to hotfix armor on the Malignant Hearts because they just simply forgot about it. At least in my eyes, they just didn't think that it's important. I'm 100% convinced that Diablo 4 is going to be such a nice game in about 6 to 7 months from now. Maybe with the start of season 3, that's going to be the time when the game is really going to shine, and I hope and I think that is going to regain some of the audience that it has lost right now. Of course, there's been a lot of positives happening to Diablo 4 as well, in the apparent sea of problems. But even with these changes, they don't necessarily affect my own problems with the game, or my lack of excitement or incentive to push on for some specific goals that I had. The game, in my opinion, is still a game that's in beta, and these changes that they're making, the buffs, the reverts, the changes to Nightmare Dungeons, the changes to Helltide, the quality of life, the bag, the this, the that, these are all great changes, but they are beta changes. The game needs some life behind it before it actually is going to shine and be captivating and competitive for what I expected of an ARPG. I thank you so much for watching this video. I'm very interested in seeing or reading what your experiences are with Diablo 4. If you want to share in the comments below, maybe you've had a different experience, or maybe you were able to fix some of these issues that I've had and felt as a player by doing something that I didn't come to. Let me know in the comments. And until my next video, I thank you so much for watching, and I'm gonna see you really soon. Take care.